This is the video on overview, the app screen and the program screen. This is the app screen. At the top is the heading for the application. Next, there's a red stripe that has options for the programmer. Below that is the blue note box that has instructions about running the particular application. If there's additional information needed, it'll have a next at the bottom, and you can click on next and you'll go to an additional blue note box, and as long as it says next, that means there's yet another one. When it has back, it means you can go back to a previous note box. I'll click on back at the beginning again. The next area down here is where the actions take place for the application. In this particular case, it's the height of this gray box from up here down to here and the total width of the screen. That's where the actions will take place. Below that, here at this prompt Start App, there's the letters A through T representing 20 folders where you can store your application. And then when you want to run it, you come here and you click on the letter corresponding to the folder where you saved it. Below that is this list of HTML5 P-code apps. At any time you can run those apps, look at how their programs are. You can copy things from any of them. Now I'm going to go back up here to the red stripe. The first option it has for programming is the pause. I'm going to click on pause. When I do that, it shows you a list of hundreds of routines in this P code. Over here there's a red box and a green box. If you hit the green box, it'll start going through them. And there's hundreds of them. And they're listed in the order of the actions that they use. In this case it calls it the basic actions. I click the red stripe to go back to the beginning. I can click on a particular one of them. I'll click on the first one. It has to do with sorting. It had first, second, third, fourth, and fifth given to it, and it sorted them and said, well, fifth would come first, and then first, fourth, second, and third. This is just a particular routine. I clicked on it and it showed me what the routine does. If I hit the space bar, it'll show me the instructions that were used to do the routine. And if I click it again, it goes back to the beginning of it. Now, if I click the letter A, it will advance to the next routine. So I can start to see a bunch of them. I'll click again, and again, and again. And if I hit the space bar, I can always see what the instructions were for that particular routine. Now, I'm going to click on pause. Now, I've gone back to where I was. The next thing in the red stripe is program, but we won't click on that now because that takes us to the program screen and we're not ready yet. The next one, it says step 3. If the person who wrote the application put wait states in the application, this can change the amount of time that it waits. You click on it and it'll go through different numbers for how long it's going to wait. Next is help. You click on help and it'll give you information about these things in the red stripe, and you must click on the X over here to leave there. Then there's sound. Sound is on now, but if I click on sound and it goes blue, that means it won't have any sounds. Sound will be turned off. The next two, adjust and test, can be used by the programmer to make adjustments to his program and test out those adjustments. They're for the programmer to use. Next is info. If you click on info, it'll go to the glossary here and give you lots of terms that are used, And over here, you can click on one of the actions, and it'll go to that action and show you information about it, how it works. So that's the glossary and the index. Click X to leave it. Next is data. At any time, you can ask to look at the data that the application is using. You click on data, and here are all the different what we call registers, variables, and there can be work lists and work pages and lists, app lists and pages and app pages. Right now we see under variables here, there are a couple of variables that are changing. The one called tick keeps changing. That one changes 20 times a second. Down here is another one called counter. That may be counting from the very time this program started. Right? So you can look at any of the data at any time. I'll turn data back off. The next one is trail. Now trail will show you the execution of the instructions at this particular time. It'll show you the first 9 instructions it executed. It says they're in P0, which is the main program. And it will say you can advance 9 more instructions. This is very useful when programming to see that the program is doing what you thought it was going to do. So I'm going to click on the 9 here and go 9 more instructions. You see here it made a gray rectangle, and right here it says get the color gray, make a rectangle and fill it in. I'll go 9 more and 9 more. I'll just keep going 9 more, and you see what's happening. Over here it's showing you the 9 additional instructions, and here you can see what's happening. I also could go back to data and see if data has changed. Well, I'll keep going 9 more at a time, and you can see what it's doing. That's putting things on the side. Now I'm going to go to do 900 at a time, and it went to exit. I could have gone backwards through it also, but I'm going to turn the trail off now. You also, for an option for the programmer, is one called RT, which stands for real time. When I click on RT, it'll go to into the program wherever the yellow highlighted line is, and we'll see that later. And here it says morphing. It was doing a morphing, and it says what pattern it was using, and it allows me to change the program while it's running. All of these orange boxes contain parameters that I now can change to make this program change. That's very helpful when designing your program, especially when putting things on the screen and deciding how large they should be and where they should be, what color they should be. You can go here and you can make the changes and see it happening as you change it. That's the option called RT. I'm going to click RT off, and now I'm ready to click over here in the red stripe, Program, to see the program. Here it went to the program, and it actually knew to go to whatever was being displayed over there on the right in the gray box. It says it was doing the bend, the line segments. And at the top here it says gray box routines, and I see gray box routines is subprogram 1. Here is the particular routine it was doing that was bending a bar, as I remember. And here's the color of the bar, yes, color 50, which is a medium green. These are the instructions for that routine. In the first column here are labels, if there's any labels, and here it says EI, all labels are 2 letters. And the action here is tab, and you can see it's in the column headed by action. And these are all the actions. Then it says address 1. This is column for the first parameter that instruction needs. Then address 2 and address 3. Notice they all don't need all three addresses. Then there's two labels, and down here we see there is a to label EL. So this is the instructions. Now if you want to work on a particular instruction, you can click on that instruction and it will put it at the top here. And it will tell you, well, here it has no label, but its action is set. And because that's the action, it placed down here at the bottom information about the set action. And it also says over here there's a relevant video for the set action. So you not only can read the instructions for it, but you can go to a video and see it being used. Well, we go back here to the top and it also says it's set a value. And then it says there's a result value. Here it says it's register RS. And over here it says the given value. That's the value that's going to put into that register. I'm going to click on quit. And it's going to go back where we were. Now I can also make a list of instructions in what we call a green box. I'm going to start, say, with this instruction. I'll move the yellow line up there, and I'll go to this one. Now, all the instructions now in this green box can be copied anywhere else. It can be copied in here, in this particular program, which is subprogram 1, underneath wherever I place the yellow highlighted line. It can be put in another of these subprograms. If I would save it here, save the green lines, I then can go to any other place and put it. I also could store it so that it could be pasted in a total other application. And later on, when you go to that application and you click over here, paste stored lines, and then you click, and you set your yellow line, and then you say paste the saved lines, you can paste them in a totally different application. So this ability to take stuff from one program and put it in another is essential to programming. It's not plagiarism. What it is smart. To take the green box away, you just have to click above it. Now, over here we have copy, update, and placement. Placement means if I click over on this end of the instruction, that's where it'll put the yellow highlighted line. And that's important for when you were doing things like RT. RT will find that yellow highlighted line, and that's where it'll put itself so that you can make changes, for instance in this case, to these values here. If you click under update, it will put the line up above here, and then when you want to save it back, you can just say replace it. So it'll go right back where it was. However, you also could put it below there or above there, that is, of the yellow highlighted line. And the other option you have is if you click under copy here, and you click the line under copy, now it takes that line and puts it up here and then says now you can put it wherever the yellow highlighted line is, or below it or above it. That's how you can move your instructions around and build your instructions. Now I'm going to quit that. I'm going to go over here. Here is where it executes the application, which means I'll just go back to where we had been originally, to the app screen. There's the app screen. Then I'll go back and click on program again. I can save the application. If I click on save the application, it's going to ask me to which one of those 20 folders do I want to save it to. and I can click any one of the 20. I'll click on D here. And now if I would go back to the app screen and say I want to run D, it's going to be exactly the version of this program when we saved it. After that, it says create a new application. Right now it says it can't do that because it thinks this application was changed, so it should be saved before you can do that. Then create a new subprogram. It won't let you do that because you can only have 9 of them, and there are already 9 of them used. Here is where we save stuff to the hard drive. That is the green highlighted lines. We could save to the hard drive and then go to another application and down here load it. And these other things have to do with deleting those lines, copying those lines, saving those lines, so forth. Here is the names of all of the subprograms in the main program for this application. Below that is these brown boxes will have options where you can list the values. If I click on that, it'll show me all the different names that I have, and I can go and look at them and see what values are there. Also with pages, I can say my text data. I want to see what's in page A. Well, there's a lot of things in page A. Instructions can refer to this data. Below that is I can name them. And here's where I name the programs. And below that, the variable names that it had. Notice that you don't have to define the variables. It has areas already for defining the variables. It just needs you to tell it what name you want the variable to have. Then there's also where you put comments in. And there's prompts that you can do that need captions. And you can come here to see the values of the registers at the time, or the variables. And here's where you put the notes in that were in the blue note box. You have 2 different areas to put them in. You can learn about ASCII and colors, fonts and sizes of fonts, pictures. There's many pictures. It takes a while to load them. See, it's busy right now. Well, that's the pictures. And then you have patterns, and you can build patterns or you can see patterns. These are patterns. You can actually make your own patterns. There are sounds, and then it'll also tell you where all the routines are that have been named. Alright, this is the program screen, and we click on execute. It takes us back to the app screen. Alright, this is the overview of the app screen and the program screen.